Then Jesus made a promise. He promised that he would come back again to lead them to the home he has prepared. And today, we need to place our trust in Jesus. Promise that Jesus is now leading Jordon to the place that he has prepared for him. And this should give us great comfort and great hope. But when someone in the prime of their life dies so unexpectedly, like Jordon, we become troubled with questions. Some of us come here today asking questions like, why did Jordon have to die? Know that there are no good answers to this question. There is no answer which will satisfy us. The question we need to focus on at this time, why did Jordon live? What was God's purpose of giving Jordon life? Why did God give us this gift of knowing Jordon? What was God's purpose? These are the right questions we need to ask ourselves, for our faith tells us that all life is a gift from God. There are many good memories here, memories of how Jordon has touched your life, and these are the stories we need to share with one another. Mother Teresa of Calcutta, a holy person in her own time, now a canonized saint of the Catholic Church, Mother Teresa said that when suffering, when illness or pain or death touches our lives, or the lives of someone close to us, she said, remember that the passion of Christ always ends in the joy of the resurrection. So when you feel in your own heart the suffering of Christ, which many here are, remember that the resurrection will come. Never let anything so fill you with fear and sorrow as to make you forget the joy of Christ risen. Everyone here has a joyful memory of a time spent with Jordon. Today and in the days ahead, we need to set aside time to share those stories with one another. And may we allow the joy of shared of these stories about Jordon point us to the joy of Christ's resurrection. We have a choice today. We can choose to ask questions about death, or we can choose to see Jordon's life as a gift of love from God. And like Jordon, we can choose to be the gift of love for one another.
Hi. You guys should know I'm Michaela, Jordan's sister. I prepared a eulogy for him. Be patient with me. If I fall apart, Uncle Rich is tagged in. It seems criminally unfair to try to encapsulate the magnitude of Jordan's spirit into words. It just isn't possible. But if there is one word I would use to describe my brother, it is memorable. Jordon made an impact, whether you knew him his entire life or only spoke to him once. I can say without a doubt that when each person in this room thinks of the happiest moments of their life, Jordon is a part of them. Gone but never forgotten seems so cliche to say about someone so unique, but it's the truth and will remain true as we all continue to live our lives in ways that will honor him. So the question that I ask myself is, how can I live a life that honors Jordon? What can I do to hold on to his presence in my life? I've written down a few ideas of things we can do. 1, go to a concert and dance like no one is watching. Jordon loved music, and he wasn't afraid to dance. Whether he was in the middle of a mosh pit or alone on the dance floor, he was boogieing down. You can ask his fiancée Andrea, since that's how they met. Number 2, go bowling with your friends and family. One of my favorite things to do was to go bowling with my brother, even though he always won and was way better than everybody. And he was not a good winner. He'd be like, yeah, you suck. Number 3, watch The Big Lebowski. This was his favorite movie, so much so that he became an ordained Dudist priest. For those that are unfamiliar, Dudism advocates and encourages the practice of going with the flow, being cool-headed, and taking it easy in the face of life's difficulties, believing that this is the only way to live in harmony with our inner nature and the challenges of interacting with other people. Number 4, catch a Pokemon. Jordan never disconnected from his inner child. He wasn't afraid to be silly or goofy and still found joy in the things he did in childhood as an adult. Number 5, watch a Browns game. This may come as a shock, but Jordan was a huge Browns fan. They were his favorite sports team, period. In fact, we all wore the jersey of Jordan's favorite player, Nick Chubb, today. Or as Jordan would put it, we went full Chubb. 6, celebrate Festivus. Jordan's living room wasn't complete without the big portrait of Kramer, which I think proves how much Andrea loved him. He was also a big fan of the airing of the grievances. Number 7, rescue an animal. All of his animals were rescues. At one point, he had 3 guinea pigs, 3 dogs, and a cat, each one equally as spoiled. Number 8, eat some candy. He always found the best candy and loved being able to share it with others. 9, watch something funny. He loved Dave Chappelle and could quote Step Brothers line for line. He loved to laugh, and he really made all of us laugh. Number 10, brag about someone you love. Jordan was so incredibly proud of the people he loved and made sure that they knew it. And I just hope that he knew how proud we were all of him. 11, hug someone a little longer and a little tighter. My brother gave the best hugs. They were warm and genuine, and you could feel the love in them. Number 12, never miss an I love you at the end of a phone call or visit. Jordan loved fully and genuinely, and he made sure you knew it. I'm lucky because for my entire life, I've never had to wonder how much my brother loved me, and I'm forever grateful. At this time of immense loss and grief, remembering Jordan won't be hard to do because of the great love and laughter he brought into our lives. So in honor of Jordan and the momentous impact he made, let's keep his memory alive. We asked some people to share some memories of Jordan, and these are the ones that were sent to us by those who couldn't be in attendance today. I have been friends with Eric, Boo, Balzer, and Tammy for 34 years. I had the privilege and honor to know his children. I remember when Jordan was born, and I had the privilege and honor to hold him as a baby and watch him grow to be a special young man filled with hope and promise. He was a sweet boy and grew to be a kind man. He emulated his parents by acquiring most of their traits: kindness, humility, gratitude, work ethic, intelligence, and humor. Jordan had many wonderful qualities, but the 3 that stand out to me and my wife Chrissy are respect, love, and laughter. Respect, because he was always more than respectful to Chrissy and I, and our children, along with everyone else I have ever seen him interact with. love and laughter. Both of these traits are symbolic of one another. Jordon had a whole lot of love in his heart, and he always made people laugh with his profound and witty sense of humor. Humor is expressed to people you care about. It is a loving sign of expression, and it is normally a sign of love and kindness. Jordon was a son, a grandson, a brother to two amazing young ladies, thank you, a nephew to so many special people from two special families. He was a cousin, a friend to many, and a soon-to-be husband. He was a special young man full of awesome potential and loved by so many. His father and I have a long and special relationship like brothers, and I watched Boo set the bar high and invest in Jordon constantly by always teaching, leading, supporting, and embracing him in his journey, no matter what it was. Boo and Tammy are wonderful parents, constantly making deposits in the relationship bank in regards to their children, always doing whatever it takes to give them the inspiration, direction, and the support they needed growing up and as adults. Very true. Chrissy and I are internally grateful and honored to have known Jordon and to be around him as he grew up. We believe, and by faith, we will all be together in paradise one day. May God bless Jordon and the entire family and friends affected by his loss. That one is from Scotty and Chrissy Campana. This next one is from some of his friends that he made when he was living in North Carolina. Jordon, we will never forget your quick-witted sense of humor, your vast range of knowledge of all topics, and your contagious laugh. I remember when it was my brother's birthday, and you'd never met him before, but you, Andrea, Michaela, Amelia, and Joe rallied together, and we threw him a 21st birthday and took him out. Your kindness will not be forgotten. We will never forget the doggy playdates, the trips to the parkway, or hangouts at your place. Save us a spot in heaven. Forever your friends, Sarah and James. This next one is from our cousin Gabby. Jordon, I am still not able to process that you were gone. I am so shocked, heartbroken, and devastated. I will miss your smile, your boisterous sense of humor, and your kind spirit. I feel your loss more deeply than any other loss I have ever experienced. Boo, Tammy, Michaela, and Amelia, I cannot imagine the pain you guys are feeling. I hope sharing these memories with Jordon will provide you even the slightest of comfort. Growing up in Florida, my family spent many summers as a child making the 2-day trip up to Ohio. I was always so excited to see my cousins, in particular to stay at my Uncle Boo and Aunt Tammy's house and see my cousins Jordon, Michaela, and Amelia. Although we are first cousins once removed, Jordon and I are less than 1 month apart in age. Uncle Bobby was born in October, Jordon was born in November, and I was born in December of the same year. I have so many fond memories of us watching movies together, eating Yala's pizza, having pool parties, and going to Cedar Point, listening to music, and just talking and having lots of laughs. I remember how much you loved the band Korn in middle school and quickly picked up the guitar. I always admired your confidence, your intelligence, and your charm, and I still admire it. One year, in late high school or early college, I visited Ohio for spring break. It snowed very lightly, and it being my first time seeing snow, Uncle Boo wanted to let me throw my first snowball. This was, of course, using Jordon as the target. As a Florida kid, I had no idea what I was doing, and I packed the snowball much too tight, turning it into an ice ball. I threw the ice ball more expertly than I had thrown anything else before, and it landed right between Jordon's shoulder blades. Jordon knelt to the ground, bent over with laughter, and I was shocked and embarrassed, but laughed once I realized that Jordon was okay. Boo has loved to tell this story over the years, even telling it this past September at Michaela and Joe's wedding. I do wish that we had developed a closer relationship as adults. Sometimes life gets so busy and time flies so quickly and we forget to stop and keep up with each other. The last time I saw Jordon was at Michaela and Joe's wedding. I feel so lucky to have gotten to spend the time with him so recently, to meet his beautiful and sweet fiancée Andrea for the first time, and to share my last memory of him. As my partner and I were saying our goodbyes after the wedding, Jordon turned to me looked directly at me and said, "A fool, I love you." I said, "I love you" back. I was taken aback by this because I could not remember many times that we had said that to each other. It meant a lot to me at the time, and it means even more to me now. Jordon was able to authentically and fully love and express his love for others. Not many are able to do this, especially not at his young age. Jordon, you and your family mean so much to me, and I will forever hold you, your memory, and my memories of us close to my heart. You are a special person, and you will be dearly missed. And then the last one is from our great uncle Bobby, who is actually like the same age as Jordon. So, just piece that together. When we were kids in elementary school together, Jordan and I would delight in the strangeness of our familial connection. Though he was only a few weeks younger than me, he was my nephew, Jordan, and I was his great uncle Bobby. We were family, but we were also dear friends. We grew up together, we shared many friends. I have pictures still of us with friends Michael Prahota, I think that's how you say it, and Max Schaefer. At school, at birthday parties, and more. As a lifelong film lover, I vividly remember occasions like Jordan's mom taking us, along with Max, to see the 90s Godzilla at the drive-in. I remember driving with Jordan and his family out into the country to visit a cousin, sitting in the basement of a family member's home, watching Aristocats, riding my bike to their house on hot summer days. The St. Mary's community was close-knit, as was the extended Stemeti family. As is sometimes natural, sometimes not, we drifted apart, reconnecting very briefly when we attended the same high school and occasionally when we'd see each other in Amherst. Now, more than ever, I lament that I didn't know him as an adult. It hurts to read about where he was and where he was going, and know that he's with us now only in memory. I want all of his family to know that he is dearly remembered, that he and how he interacted with the world meant something and will continue to mean something to those he knew. And I want his family to know they can always reach out to talk, to remember, and to try to learn together how to go through this hurt. As distant as we may be now, we're family. So with those memories and in honor of Jordan being so memorable, I'd like you guys to think about moments and memories that you've had with Jordan, that your favorite ones, funny ones, because they all were, and come on up if you want to say anything. Thank you.
I'm gonna try really hard to get through this. I'm Andrea, Jordan's fiance. I wanted to share how we had met, and then we had planned to get married at the end of the year. So I had started writing my vows. So I thought I would share the beginnings of those, even though it is only a few sentences. Who knew 7 years ago that 3 seconds of eye contact between total strangers was how I would meet my soulmate? The way Jordan and I met was truly chance. Two people who had left at the last minute to an event that neither had prepared for. On October 31st of 2015, Halloween, I had an overnight job and I was supposed to work. And I had 2 tickets to a concert. So unfortunately I had to give those tickets up. A few hours before the event started, my brother, who was my coworker, told me that he could cover for me. So I was really excited. I get to go to this concert with my friend, and because it was Halloween, could dress up. But because I didn't think I was gonna go, all I had were cat ears. So that's what I went as. Then from Jordan's side, at this concert, a DJ had fallen out. Well, Jordan, knowing a lot of people in the music industry, one of his friends was going to fill in. And Jordan, being a great cheerleader for everybody who had passion, his friend needed him there. And Jordan went. With help from his family, he looked amazing as Pat Healy from What About Mary, if anybody knows that. The detective, a little bit of a creeper, but he looked great. So from there, from Cleveland, he went to Akron, me from Kent to Akron. I didn't see him all night. Not at all. Dancing, walking around. The place maybe had, it was big. The guest list had about 5,000 people. But later that night, towards the end, it had cleared up quite a bit. Not a lot of people dancing, except for him. A lot of people just standing on the sides, chatting. Throughout the night, my friend and I had started dancing behind guys, like how guys dance behind girls, except not being touchy. So my friend, she goes, "You see that guy over there?" I'm like, "What guy?" And she's like, "That guy, the one who's just standing over there by himself dancing, like that guy right there." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, look at him, look at him." And he's just over there in his own world, completely not thinking about anybody else, but enjoying the music. Did he look wild? Yes, but he was on beat. Okay? So I was just like, I looked at her and she looked at me and she's like, "I dare you. I dare you to go up behind him." I was just like, maybe. And she was like, do it. Do it. It'll be the last one tonight, and then we'll leave. And I go, okay. So I start walking over there. A few thoughts go through my head. I might get hit. He's going like this, okay? I might get hit. Accidental, but then a few more steps closer to him. What if I get there and he just like walks away? Be for nothing. I just walked out there and I'm just gonna stand in the middle of the floor and do what? Another thought comes to my head. What if he turns around? Oh my gosh, that'd be embarrassing. I'm just gonna stand and stare at him. So I finally get to him. He's still dancing. About a foot away. He turns around. And looks me straight in the eyes. And it paused. It felt like a lifetime. But it was only like 3 seconds. And it ended when his friend put his hand on his shoulder and said, "Hey man, we gotta go." And he left. 3 seconds of eye contact, that's what I got with him that night. That's how I first saw him, how I first met him. We left that night and I felt off. I felt like I had missed something. Later that night when Jordan left, he went to a friend's house and then went home. And believe it or not, right then and there, he told his mom he had met the girl he was going to marry. And he didn't even know my name. So how did he find me? He spent the next 2 days scouring that concert event page on Facebook, hoping to see that I had followed and liked that page. And I did. He messaged me saying he hoped he didn't come off creepy. Hoped I remembered him and how he couldn't stop thinking about my gorgeous eyes. How 3 seconds felt like a lifetime and he had to get to know me. I had to take the chance. And I did. We messaged each other for 2 more weeks, morning, noon, and night, until we were able to meet on his birthday, when he asked me to be his girlfriend. Did he even have to ask? The next years to come were adventurous, filled with more ups and downs, and us looking forward to start our life together. As long as we were together, we can make it through anything. Like I said, this year we were planning on marrying. I had begun to write my vows, and I did not finish them, so it's only a few sentences, but I thought I'd share. Jordon, if I could take your words and put them to music, you'd easily be my favorite song. You are my morning, my noon, and my night. Not a second passes where you are on the forefront of my mind. While I can't promise you everything, and you know I'll try anyway, what I can promise is you'll never go a day without knowing how much I love you. You'll never have to question your importance to me. You're forever first in my heart, my body, and my soul. Jordon, I love you.
Grandma told that angel up there, if you can do it, I can do it. Jordon was the first everything. He was the first grandson, the first nephew. He was the first everything, as well as his father was the first. The excitement when he was born, his other grandma, I seen him and I said, well, he looks just like Lulu. And she said, well, I think he looks like Tammy. So we both left and ran home and got our pictures. And we brought him back, and I didn't want to admit at that point that he did look a little like Tammy. So I said, well, Tammy does look like my family. I didn't have much time to be a grandparent because my husband got very ill. It was the most joyous time of my life. Any grandmother will tell you there's nothing like a grandchild, nothing. You can do whatever you want, you can give them whatever you want, you can be sneaky, you can do whatever you want. It was the joy of my life. Being a grandmother is the joy of your life. I loved him with all my heart, my beautiful children. I'm in a place, I pray that nobody ever is, where you have to watch your family that you love more than life hurt so bad. I'm asking you all to please pray for my children. Thank you.
My name's John McMahon, in case you don't know me. And Jordon is definitely my great nephew. Jordon was a remarkable person who was loved and cherished by many, many people. Over the last few days, and today, we've heard so many adjectives and superlatives used to describe Jordon and his character, and I don't think there's any superlatives left in the dictionary. His musical talents got an opportunity to blossom one Christmas when he was very young, 5 or 6 perhaps. Shelley bought him a guitar, and when he opened the package, he pulled the guitar out by the neck and yelled, "Rock and roll!" Just like that. We have that on a video somewhere, and my daughter Jennifer says, I know I've seen it. I don't know if I was there or if I've just seen the video, but it was awesome. When Jordon and his dad were together telling stories, it was like a tag team. It was like watching a tennis match. There's Boo's over here telling his story with all of his wild, perfect language, and then he stops to take a breath, so Jordon picks up the baton and he keeps going and he tells the story, and it's like, the the apple does not fall far from the tree. And I gotta say, he probably made his own tree. He was really something. So, over the last few days, I've witnessed and experienced extraordinary sadness, inconsolable grief. It's just so hard to explain. And there's more stories to tell, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and I'm going to try to provide just a smidgen of comfort. And I want to share my faith and beliefs with you. I personally, honestly, truly believe that Jordon is in heaven in the presence of God. Imagine Jordon's joy and his comfort when God welcomed him into the kingdom of heaven and embraced him in his loving arms. God's love for each of us is so immense, and his divine mercy is so enduring that he invites us all to spend eternity with him. As Jesus promised in the Gospel of John that Rich read, do not let your hearts be troubled. Believe in God and also believe in me. In my Father's house there are many dwelling places. And if it were not so, would I have told you that I go to prepare a place for you? And if I go and I prepare a place for you, I will come again and will take you to myself, so that where I am, you will be also. I gotta believe that's true for Jordon as it is for everybody. And now our Father's house as one of the best maintenance managers to take care of those dwelling places. When a loved one dies, we cry out, why? And we want to blame someone. And God is an easy target. Surely, some of us lose a little bit of faith and maybe we stop believing altogether because it's just not fair. I mean, how could God take such a good soul, such a fine young man, who's so deeply loved and needed on this earth? Isn't that what a loving God does? Nobody on earth, nobody knows the answers to these questions that have been asked for thousands of years. Even like 4,000 years ago, the prophet Isaiah wrote, good people pass away. The godly often die young, well before their time. No one seems to understand that God is protecting them. For those who follow godly paths will rest in peace when they die. And whether we believe in God or not, or what we believe in, if our faith is shattered, and we're all in pain, we're full of grief, which might never be relieved while we're alive. So I turn to God. In 2 Corinthians chapter 1, Paul wrote, God is our merciful Father and the source of all comfort. He comforts us all in our troubles so that we can comfort others. When they are troubled, we will be able to give them the same comfort God has given us. And in Matthew, Jesus promised, blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. And these are just words. It's my faith. It may not be much to some, but it's everything I've got. I choose to believe. I choose to believe that Jordon is in heaven. I choose to believe that he is at peace for eternity. I imagine that Jordon is awed by the knowledge and the wisdom to which he has been granted access by God upon entering the kingdom of heaven. And imagine Jordan's overwhelming joy to be in the presence of Jesus. I believe, I know Jordan's in heaven, and he's dazzling everyone with his love, his kindness, his wit, his wisdom, his humor, laughter, his smile, his music, and above all, his hugs. You'll miss you, Jordan.
Hello, my name is Amelia, also known as Shu. I really hate public speaking. It is my least favorite thing to do. But since I won't have the opportunity to speak a few words at Jordan's wedding, like I was able to for my sister and Joe, I decided that now would be the time. So I'm gonna read a few things that my mom and dad wrote on behalf of them. This is from my mom. Jordan was the sweetest baby boy. He was so conscious of others' feelings, even as a 2-year-old. I once slipped and hurt my back on a wet floor, and Jordan started trying to massage my back as he had seen me do for his dad after a rough day of work. And he would do that. He would do it to the dog. I'm sure you're all familiar with Minnie. When we had her, the little pug, and he would always rub her shoulders and be like, she had a rough day. And anytime I would come and stay at his house, I'm extremely allergic to cats, so whenever I would come over, I would start having really bad allergies, and he would come back with a full pharmacy, trying to make me feel better. This is from my dad. When describing Jordan, the things you might hear about him, the things you most hear about him is his intelligence, his kindness, his generosity, and his ability to make other people laugh. But Jordan had so many other qualities that come to mind. Jordan had always gave his best effort. That is very true. When he was a little boy, he joined a CYO basketball league. And what he lacked in ability, he made up for in tenacity. As his coach once said, when Jordan was guarding someone, they were going to have a bad day that day. At the end of the year, when they were handing out awards, they made a special one specifically for Jordan with how much effort he put in. That's the thing about Jordan, that always stuck with him as he got older. No matter the outcome, he put in all his maximum effort with his work, with his relationships, with his friends, and his family. No matter what, he did everything with passion and sincere intent. Excuse my Jordanese is what I'm gonna call it, but he didn't half-ass shit. If he was gonna put his name on it, it was going to be 100%. And every emotion that he expressed to anyone, it was wholeheartedly. I just wrote a few things myself, just some things I'll never forget about Jordan. He could literally sell me on anything. He could hold up a cup of water and convince me it's not water.
He was so confident, eloquent with the way that he spoke. Jordon also had so many looks. Every time I saw him, he was in a whole new decade. Personally, I thought the 70s and the 80s fit him the best, but he really could pull off anything. He would cut his own hair. He would play with his facial hair to give himself different looks. He had the best fashion. I always like to believe it's me, but it was really Jordon. He would always, whenever we would come over, he would always make sure that we would feel comfortable. If I ever wanted coffee, he would serve his own style of coffee. And he would always just look at you with so much joy of, how does it taste? Do you love it? Is it good? It was always amazing. Not as eloquent as the others, as I didn't prepare as much. But I will never forget all of the love that Jordon has shown me throughout my life, and I will never forget the love that he's shown to others.